Well, Wells Fargo had defended its franchise. It had to go through several things that had taken out earnings growth for the last couple of years, but those are really financial things that they had to deal with, the constraint on the balance sheet growth, having to go in and manage through the extra expenses to be able to get the regulatory stuff taken care of. But if you look past all that noise, what they had was the customer base was still there. They had defended that at all costs. They had spent extra money on marketing. So you had that foundation that was there behind the scenes. It's just how could they transition and get somebody excited about coming over and taking the helm. And I think this actually is a real nice kind of marriage between a person who has the perfect background and was probably looking for something and a new opportunity, which kind of came about with the Wells Fargo job being open here.
Marty, do you think that this changes the likelihood of how soon the Fed asset cap gets lifted?
I don't think this in itself changes that at all. I think they were on a progression and a path as they were working through all the different pieces. And what we've seen, if we go back as far as M&T Bank, when they had the AML BSA, it took them several years to get all the way through and to finish all the processes because they're having to kind of, get this whole thing done for the first time. So, Joe, as you were talking about G-SIFI and all these kind of things, the regulatory scrutiny, when you get under this pressure, becomes so intense that they're trying to set the standard for everybody else. So it just takes you longer to go through that process and come out the other side. But as you saw these banks that have done that, they then are well positioned because they've gone through the investment and the regulatory scrutiny to kind of check all the boxes off. And when they come out, they have a clean bill of health.
The other thing I'd just add, which has taken some by surprise, is how quickly he's able to take up this role, October 21st. So BNY Mellon obviously not enforcing a kind of harsh gardening leave type period. And again, that's, I think, important for the share price reaction because there's already been quite a long delay. It's 6 months since Tim Sloan stepped down, and this kind of gets the ball rolling again with the new person in place.
Yeah, it does put them back on that timetable. When you were looking at the 6 months and looking at dragging out, like you said, having the interim CEO maybe having to stay over, that now takes that off the table, and now we have a new, fresh look. But when you look at Wells Fargo, what you have to think about is as, Charlie comes in and takes over, this whole, let's say the expenses get back on track, put our earnings right back on the trajectory it should have been at, is really out the window. This is the new base. Take this base and then begin to grow off of it. He'll have plenty of money in the sense of investment for new things and products. And one of the things they hadn't stopped is the investment in their technology, which he fits right in top of. So this will be a competitive force to deal with as they have really been able to reallocate and create a nice pot of investment dollars for him to be able to transition the franchise into whatever he sees it being in the next 5 years.
The other thing I'd just say on the share price has significantly underperformed the KBW Banks Index year to date. The last couple of months, it's picked up and kind of caught up with the rest a little bit. In the pre-market now, above 50, which it hasn't been, if it opens there, since about March. The last couple of months, whether it was short covering, whether it was yields picking up or what, it's played a bit of catch-up. But still a lot of room to close in terms of valuation multiples with the other banks.
Nothing negative about this news story. It's positive. Think of it in terms of technology. The analyst community will come out. They'll have to raise. There's 10 buys, 18 holds, 5 sells. Average 12-month price target is $49.10. Analysts will raise on this news.